Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the one and only TCL Chinese Theater. More than 90 years ago, the theater opened its doors and began the time-honored tradition of honoring the best and brightest stars in Hollywood in cement. Today, we are thrilled to honor the extraordinary career of one of the most renowned storytellers of all time in all the world, Stan Lee. For more than 7 decades, Stan has captivated billions of people with his incredible skills as an artist and storyteller on the pages of some of the most popular comic books in the world. Many of the characters he created or co-created have appeared on the big screen, including Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and so many, many more. It's very fitting that Stan will be leaving his imprints in front of a theater where tens of thousands of fans have enjoyed movies based on his characters that he's created over the years. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Paul Scanlon, co-founder and CEO of Legion M.
Legion M in the house. Good morning, everybody. The immeasurable power of fans. It's the driving force behind our new company, Legion M, and it's the reason we're all here today. And no one represents the power of fans more than Stan Lee. Stan, you dreamed and you bestowed on us a modern mythology of heroes and villains that have united and catalyzed fandoms across the globe. But as a noble man once said, with great power comes great responsibility. Today is a shining example of that responsibility. This imprint ceremony is truly historic. For the first time in 90 years of this time-honored tradition, this imprint ceremony is hosted and offered by the fans. Legion M, a fan-owned entertainment company, has banded together with thousands of fans around the world to give this tribute and honor to Stan Lee. We want to thank all the fans, all the companies, all the celebrities, and all the people that have come to support Stan in this moment. In particular, we want to thank some of our title sponsors, Acumen Technology Corporation, Celsius Fitness Drink, which I think is being handed out and you should try. Refreshing drink on a warm day like today. Stan Lee Collectibles, Audible, and TCL and the TCL Chinese Theater. In January, Legion M started production on a groundbreaking new virtual reality interview series titled Icons, Face to Face. For obvious reasons, we chose Stan as our first icon. And without hesitation, he chose one of our favorites, Kevin Smith, creator, writer, director, actor, and fan, to do the interview for this special event. And this is not like any other interview. Shot with dual 8K cameras, this is the interview to stand the test of time. We were so honored and grateful to capture these two friends for that special interview. And it is my greatest pleasure to introduce Kevin Smith as the MC for this special ceremony.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to that rare opportunity where you get to see justice served outside of a comic book. I have known the man we're here to honor today for over 20 years, but that's only in person. I knew him from a young age. The man we're here to honor is certainly not family, but he might as well be. He didn't teach me to read, but he taught me to enjoy reading. He did not teach me to dream, but he gave me so many things to dream about. He taught me to be proud of what you make and stand up for it as well. It's not enough to just be the artist that makes it. Go out and champion it as well. Who will love it if not you first? He's not my father or my mother, obviously, but Stan Lee is a deep part of my DNA and genetics, and it's an honor to be here today to watch him involved with cement. I'm from New Jersey. When we stick people in cement, it's way different. So this is an honor to be here, the Hollywood style, and see a man be honored for a lifetime of work. Just a brief history of my time with him. Back in 1995, I wrote a movie called Mallrats, and there was a producer friend of mine. You're very sweet, but it's too hot and we have no time. There was a man named Jim Jackson who was the producer of the movie, and I'd written the role of a comic book guru who would meet the main character and impart wisdom to him, quite like Wolfman Jack in American Graffiti. So Jim Jackson, the producer, read the script and he goes, "Who is this person meant to be?" And I was like, well, it's kind of like as if our guy met Stan Lee. And Jim Jackson changed my life. He goes, "Well, I know Stan Lee." And I said, "Hollywood is good." And so he reached out to Stan Lee to see if Stan Lee would be in the movie. And Stan Lee, what Jim Jackson told me, said was yes. So when I met him on set for the first time, I was floored, honored. He had been the voice of my childhood, and there he was in the flesh. And I said, "I can't believe you're doing this." And he goes, "Did Jim Jackson tell you what I said when I first read it?" And I said, no, what did you say?" And he goes, "My first reaction was, I would never say any of this shit." He said, "But I'm here anyway because I believe in you, Kevin Smith." Stan Lee believed in me from a young age. Years later, we made that movie Mallrats. It died hard. Nobody liked it and stuff. Years later, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was born, and Stan Lee has been in every one of those movies. So Stan has never missed an opportunity to remind me. He's like, "You cast me in my lowest grossing film of all time." And I said, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Yeah, I read an article one day that says my box office combined is as big as Will Smith's." And I said, "Well, let's try to add to that. Come be in my next movie." And he came to be in a movie I did called Yoga Hosers, which nobody saw. And so the next time I saw Stan, he goes, "You're ruining my curve." Today we're not going to ruin his curve. Today we're actually going to honor the man, and we're going to bring up a bunch of people to talk about the glory that is the man behind Marvel, the man behind our imaginations, Stan Lee. First off is a guy who picked up Stan Lee's great work and brought it into the modern age. If the comic books were the promise of something wonderful, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has fulfilled on that promise. And the modern day Stan Lee, the architect of that, my favorite current storyteller on the planet, is the next man who's going to speak. Give it up for the amazing Kevin Feige, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you everybody. Thanks, Kevin. I couldn't be more honored to stand here today. They've asked me to distill into 2 minutes the importance that Stan Lee's had on my life. That's impossible, but I will just say my entire life has been really about two things: movies, which I've loved, and superheroes, which I've loved. And to be here today at the TCL Chinese stand as you're getting your handprints in cement, and I used to walk around here when I was a tourist from New Jersey, dreaming about this. It couldn't be more perfect. It couldn't be more appropriate for Stan to get his hands here in cement. These movies wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you, Stan. I will quickly tell you that the most unbelievable thing to me about Stan Lee is that he never disappoints. Never, ever, ever does he disappoint. His creations don't disappoint, his imagination doesn't disappoint, and any personal encounter that one could have with Stan is as amazing as you would dream a personal encounter would be with Stan. And the very first time I saw him was on the set of X-Men 1, when he was the amazing performance as the hot dog vendor on the beach in X-Men 1. And we didn't meet that day, Stan, because I was too shy. I was standing in the back on the beach, I was watching you work your magic, and I was too shy. But I then ended up working for Marvel, and a couple of years later, I got to know him, we interacted a number of times, and one day I come into my office, and there's a voicemail on my phone, and I pick it up, and it's Stan Lee. And Stan Lee was calling me. Now, if you were to dream of what a voicemail from Stan Lee would sound like, this is what it was. He literally goes, "Fearless Feige, Stan Lee here." And it was, I saved that, I think, for about 12 years until the telecom company went out of business and I lost the voicemail. And even 2 days ago, Stan was honored as a Disney legend at the D23 Expo. Well deserved. And there was a nice luncheon afterwards, and a lot of the legends were there. And I was talking with Stan about some of the cameos he just shot for us in Atlanta, and I made him the promise then that the next cameo will be here in LA, and you won't have to go to Atlanta for that, although today's just as hot as it is in Atlanta. And suddenly we were rudely interrupted as somebody came and started talking to Stan, and it was Oprah Winfrey. And I, of course, stepped back, and they talked as if they'd known each other for years, and it was an amazing interaction. And Oprah left, and Stan goes, "Where'd Kevin go?" "Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry, but she's more important." And I said, "That's correct." At any rate, Stan, congratulations. I can't thank you enough for all of this. And now, here in this courtyard forevermore, people will know what I've always known, which is you have impossibly big shoes to fill. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, years ago, the sensational Stan Lee brought the Avengers together, but cinematically speaking, there's one man responsible for bringing the Avengers together at the moment they needed it most. The death of this man galvanized him, and thanks to the world of comics and real life, he's here to talk about it today. Welcome to the stage, the amazing Clark Gregg!
Thank you, thank you. I'm geeking out so hard I almost can't talk, but I'm gonna try. Iron Man, Thor, Loki, still don't like saying it, Loki, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Inhumans. These are just a few of the magnificent characters that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby brought to life. They're the characters I devoured as a kid. And thanks to Kevin Feige, it's the top half of my IMDb page. I've been thank you. I've been very lucky to play Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson now appears in the comics with Deadpool, Captain Marvel, but he first appeared in Iron Man, so in a way, he's always been an adopted son of Stan's. But from the moment we met on Thor, he always made me feel like I was one of his very own. And that meant everything to me, because my family moved a lot. And the one thing that was constant was, when we started another one of these road trips to a new town, I had my comics, they always went with me. So it's been a really special and rare gift for me to watch from the inside, as these characters and these stories that I grew up with sprang so effortlessly and magnificently to life, first on film and animation, and now, as we start a 5th season, it will be over 100 episodes on television. Thank you. Thank you. And if they let me, I'd do 100 more. Because playing in your world, Stan, in the Marvel world, means that we get to wrestle with timeless themes of good and evil in a magnificent universe made up of enhanced beings, aliens, alternate dimensions, and, it can get tricky sometimes, sentient LMDs. Which means for me, every day is Bring Your Inner Child to Work Day. So, it is one of the great honors of my life to be here to say thank you, Stan. Thank you for sharing the incredible worlds of your imagination with us. May we take it ever higher, or in other words, Excelsior.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. I'm a 46-year-old man. I'm gonna be 47 in a couple weeks and stuff. So I'm at midlife. There's really nothing left for me and stuff like that. But then I saw the trailer for Black Panther, and I said, "There's a reason to stay alive for a little longer." Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the king of Wakanda himself, the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman.
I'm gonna be sweating up here like a Baptist minister. Forgive me. There are a host of proverbs, sayings that are used when you describe men who are mavericks, visionaries. One man said, as a man thinketh, so is he. Another man said, words have power. In The Matrix, and forgive me for using an alternate reference here, the Oracle says, would you have broken it if I hadn't said it, right? Stan Lee has taken words, taken his vision, placed them inside bubbles, placed them beside pictures with fantastic characters with extraordinary abilities. And he has made us believe in those universes and in those worlds. And in doing so, we as humans aspire to be better just like those characters. Those stories have helped us get through cancer. They have helped us when we were bullied at school. They have taken the pressure off us when the daily weight of life is just too much. And in aspiring to be better, the characters have shown us what it means to have extraordinary power, for sometimes we also have power. It shows us how to use that power. The difference between an enemy and a superhero is that responsibility, how they use that moment. This has never been exhibited better than when Stan Lee created Black Panther. When he created Black Panther, he created it in a time, it's 1966, you have to think about what was going on in that time. Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement, the beginning of the Black Power movement, and the ideologies that were spoken of, that were displayed in Black Panther. You have to think about, it's beyond civil rights, it's Black empowerment. We as African Americans were not just victims, we were not just the colonized, we were not just slaves. We were kings and queens. We were an advanced scientific nation. We were proud. We had secrets. We had abilities beyond what other people knew. So when I think of what you did and the time you did it in, and I think of the fact that many people thought that that would be an impossible movie to make, right? The best creators are those who create things that continue to assist in the creative process, that continue to generate. We as human beings are an example of that. But the stories continue to create. It's exhibited in the fact that we have live action films, we have animations. The stories continue to be written by great writers, but they were first created inside his mind and inside others' minds. Stan Lee, what you have done is godly to a certain extent. So the impression that you have made is just, that we will see right here, is just an example of the impression that you have made on all of us. So I thank you as T'Challa, as Black Panther, and I ask the question again, would it have happened if he hadn't said it, if he hadn't written it, if he hadn't drawn it? No, it would not.
Okay, there's a guy that I stand next to in movies and in real life named Jason Mewes, and I've known him for over 30 years. One of our first conversations we ever had, he was about, I guess he was 15 at the time, was he came up to me, we were in the Highlands Recreation Center, came up to me with a copy of Todd McFarlane Spider-Man with Hulk on the cover, and started a discussion. Even though I'd kind of known him and stayed away from him because he had a bad reputation even as a kid, he came up to me and he goes, who's the most powerful superhero in the Marvel Universe? I think it's Hawk. And I was like, Hawk? Who that Hawk is in Hawk and Dove in DC? And he goes, no man, Hawk. And he's pointing at the Hulk. And I'm like, you're mispronouncing that shit, dude, Hawk. So he goes, I think it's Hulk. And I said, well, I think it's Stan Lee. He could kill them all if he wants. And Jason Mewes goes, you're the smartest man I ever met. That issue of Spider-Man is a legendary issue, as is every issue of Spider-Man drawn by our next speaker. If there is a Mount Rushmore of comic book creatives, Stan Lee is definitely at one end, and at the other end you're going to see this man. Give it up for the legend, Todd McFarlane, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thanks everybody. Let me talk to you from an artist perspective. We have lots of them here. Some of them have spoken. Here's the sort of the rare hope that we have. We lock ourselves into rooms 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, trying to hone our craft, whether it's writing, whether it's drawing, or whether it's trying to teach ourselves music, to sing, or to act. We have to do it away from you so that we can feel confident enough that we can go out in public. We hope all that time is spent so that we can maybe come up with one, maybe two things in our lifetime that will touch you, that will make some kind of small, minor impact, one or two. And then we meet the people who have not only done that, but they've done it 100 times. Stan Lee has thousands of characters at his disposal. And it is the rare person that we can talk about that not only creates characters that make an impact on our lives, but make an impact around the globe. His characters are touching the globe right now. And we can only hope as artists to have a fraction of that impact. The great gift, and I've known Stan Lee, I first met him over 40 years ago, but I've known him personally for 30 years. The great gift that I've seen Stan Lee is not only creating his characters, and we all know those, and people have spoken eloquently about it, but what he's also done, for any of you that had the good fortune to meet him, is he creates moments with each one of us. If you've been either a director, or a publisher, or a friend, or a casual fan who's had 12 seconds, Stan Lee, I have never not seen this with my own eyes, and I have been around him with thousands of people in front of him. He has never created a situation where somebody didn't feel special at that moment. So the talent that he has, and I think we should bottle it, and we should actually write books, and how to treat other people, how to treat your fans, and how to be humble given that you've climbed at a high altitude. I'll recant very quickly the moment he touched me. I was 16 years old. I was a fan. I happened to be in Florida. I didn't even know there was a convention going. Stan Lee was one of the guests. He was outside. He was sitting at a table. Not that many people around him. And I asked him a simple question because I was a geek. Stan, Mr. Lee, is it okay if I sit next to you today? I just want to listen to you talk. I just want to be near greatness. And I just want to ask you questions when people aren't around. And he said yes. He didn't even hesitate. I will recall that he just said, Todd, here's a chair. He pulled up a chair for me. And he let me sit there for 8 hours just being there. I now have the good fortune that I break into comic books and I get to draw his characters and I get to make some impact on the characters that are now impacting the world. And it's a great, great day to be here. And the only thing that would make it better is if Joni was here. So, Stan's wife had just as much impact on Stan as Stan had on the rest of us. But let me just say, here's why today is important, I believe, is that you see lots of names down here, and you walk up and down the streets here, and you see all the Hollywood artists and stuff. Stan Lee has now shown that comic books, a field that I was in where I had to be a little shy about it when I was younger, where I had to hide my comic collection, where you have to be a little sort of sensitive about it. He's now made it okay for us to be part of it. And now we're going to honor him today, not as a comic book artist, creator, but just as an artist. And the best thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that we get to do it today to a living legend. We have a tendency in society to wait until people are gone before we say what we should have said to their face. And so today we get a small chance, a small opportunity to actually say the words to the man as he sits here in front of us, alive and breathing, what we otherwise might not be able to get to do. So I would like to encourage everybody to give a rousing and stand up and give an applause for a living legend. And you cannot say that about too many people. Mr. Stan Lee himself, ladies and gentlemen, Stan Lee.
If I had known I was so good, I'd have asked for a raise. And I can't tell you what this means to me. I'm thrilled, I'm overwhelmed, and if I'm half as good as everybody said I am, I'm far too good to be wasting time with ordinary people. But I seem to be spending my life with ordinary people who are the best people in the world. I've been the luckiest man in the world because I've had friends. And to have the right friends is everything. People you can depend on, people who tell you the truth if you ask for something. I've been lucky in that area. Been lucky to have a wonderful wife. And I'm lucky to be standing here in front of you now, wishing desperately that I had written a speech. But all I can say is, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I've always wondered about that expression. Why is the bottom of your heart more important than the top of your heart? I thank you from my whole heart. How's that? And you've made this day certainly totally unforgettable and almost unbelievable to me. I love you all. Love the people who are up here talking. I hope somebody taped it. I want to find somebody who I don't like so I can play all those speeches for him. And I wish you all the best, and of course, Excelsior!
Not easy.
Sorry. Stand right down the middle. Stand straight ahead. Stand to your left.
Look, he is right.
Your left, please.
Hey, what happened to now?
Right here, stand right now.
Good service.
Who is Feige?
Man, I wore my favorite sneakers. Keep my right. Who's gonna clean my sneaker in? I have no idea what he's doing. Somebody's gotta come and rescue me. Here we go. Dramatic moments. Oh, the date.
Go to your left, please.
And always remember, make mine Marvel.
Let's together to your left, please. Let's together to your left, please.